everybody, and welcome back to Tenza Motorsports. Today we're going to be talking about 5 secret kind of behind the scenes hacks, whatever you want to call them, that you can be doing to your M54 engines on the E46, E39, and some other model BMWs.
Before we continue today's content, we want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Super Clean, who are sponsoring another giveaway. All you have to be doing to be part of this giveaway is be following us on Instagram and be in the lower continental 48 United States to receive this Super Clean giveaway. This is the original and the aerosol. I use both of these cleaners daily. That's why you see the shop as clean as it is. Keep stuff off the floor, keep stuff off the lift, off the cars. Fantastic stuff. Once again, huge thanks to Super Clean. Make sure you are following us on Instagram to be part of this giveaway.
So make sure to be following us. I've got 3 Instagrams for you. Tenza_motorsports, Nikki_nightmare46, and Revmatch.motorsport. This video idea and a lot of the information, the knowledge is brought to you by Revmatch. They do some fantastic stuff. That's who's been tuning my car. I'll have all of their information linked down in the description below. They're fantastic, and this list wasn't possible without them. So the first thing we're going to talk about, and we'll actually show it on this car, this would be one of the very few that I can actually show in the video versus some of the other ones we're just going to be talking about, is the dipstick relocation. Now, if you're doing a lot of really heavy modifications that are going to be filling your engine bay, your dipstick gets in the way. Doing superchargers and things like that, where the dipstick kind of swings out to the front, it's just in your way, all of the charge piping and things like that. But after buying an M54 B30 engine on eBay to do a rebuild and then swap the 2 engines that I had, my engine actually came out of a 3-liter Z3, and the dipstick is in the back. So let's go take a look at that real quick, and then we'll get on to our other points. So this isn't the most complicated modification. It used to get in the way over here, especially with all this charge piping and stuff. Nothing in the way, nothing crowding it. And I'm just happy that it just happened to be that way. And that's something, if you're doing turbos and superchargers and really any modifications that are going to start filling up your engine bay, it's probably a good idea to try to find a way to relocate that dipstick. So the next one that we're going to talk about is, if you're not wanting to buy a metal valve cover from a different company, you can actually get one off the M56 motors. The M56 is the low emissions whatever engine, and it actually had a metal valve cover, and with a slight repin to your coil pack harness, which most of the time if you're buying a valve cover, oftentimes you're going to find the coil pack harness as well. Slight repin there. You're going to need the newer coil packs if you don't already have them, and that's it. It's a direct fit. That will give you the peace of mind that it's not warping like the plastic ones do. The plastic ones are susceptible to getting really fragile because they go through a lot of heat cycles, and the metal ones just don't have that. And if you're going to be running a lot of boost, you should probably have a metal valve cover. So it's really cool that the M56 engines actually have that. So if you go through a junkyard and you see an E46, go check to see what valve cover is in it. They're a little bit more of a rare car, but you might stumble across it, and if you've got a cool junkyard that's like, oh yeah, 20 bucks or whatever it is, that's absolutely worth it. My metal valve cover in this costs probably closer to I would just say $200. And if you're not wanting to buy something like that, the ones on eBay for the M56 cost about the same as one of these, but if you find one in a local junkyard, it's definitely worth picking it up. Even if you don't use it for your car, it's worth picking up, holding on to it for somebody else, a buddy, or maybe even making a little bit of money on it for yourself. So some of the things that we're going to be talking about, because this will actually be a several part video series on this topic, some of them will be a little bit more well known, and some of them will be something people didn't really think about, or things that I have learned along the way. And that, for example, that dipstick relocation, I've never really heard anybody else talk about it. The next one that we're going to talk about is actually one that's really well known, and that is putting Porsche brakes on your E46. This will get you a much bigger brake, much more powerful, bigger rotors. And when you look at other options where you're going to spend, $2,000 or $3,000 to find a set of used 911 brakes is a bit of a no-brainer, especially if they're in really good condition. And it also allows you to continue to buy parts where you know where they're coming from. Some of these other companies, if they're selling you brake setup, it's not always the easiest thing to find replacement parts. And so it's just a nice, well-known modification that you can do to your performance E46. And when you're adding horsepower like this, if you're doing anything over 350 to the wheel, you're probably going to want to do some brake upgrades. Even the M3, the brakes in the front really aren't that much bigger than even a 330. So if you're doing that kind of horsepower, you really should go to at least a 4-piston in the front. And if you don't go to a larger one in the back, at least upgrade your pads and rotors. So yeah, 996, 911 brakes do fit on the E46 chassis. So this next one is a little bit well known. Again, the M3 instrument clusters. Plug and play. And it even gives you your oil pressure or temperature. One of those two. It gives you some more monitoring systems. And it can also be used with the shift lights. Now, if you just plug it in and not do anything else, it will work, but there will be some features missing. But if you go to Revmatch, again, all of their information linked in the description below, they will actually get it set up so that you can run the shift lights and everything like that, which I think is just the coolest thing. The first chance I either find one online or in person that's even a reasonable price, we're gonna be starting to put those instrument clusters in both of these cars. I didn't realize that you could play with the shift lights, but Revmatch told me that yes, absolutely you can. And if you have the opportunity to find one, I would say a good price for that. I'm looking for, if I can find one for around $200, that's probably where I would like to find one. A non-M1 can sell for $100 to $150. So it's a bit of a stretch, but I'm not in a huge rush to purchase an M3 instrument cluster, but that is coming on these two cars. Really cool modification. There's just upsides all the way around. It looks better. Again, you're gonna have more oil sensors and you're gonna get those shift lights. And if you're doing a lot of modifications, those latter 2 points are very important. So the last thing we're gonna talk about is the oil pan. My race car actually has a cooled oil pan. It's got heat sinks on the bottom of it to help keep the temperature down. I did not realize that this was even an option until I got this engine from a Z3. That means that the airflow going through your engine bay is being utilized for cooling much more so than the stock pan. The stock pan is just flat. That's what this car has here. And again, same thing. I'm not in a huge rush to get this one done, but the first chance I see one, this is gonna get a finned oil pan. I still recommend running oil coolers. We are gonna be installing some oil coolers eventually at some point. I've got more projects than I do money. So obviously that's why you see a lot of budget projects on my channel, is we're just trying to keep it so that we're not spending $10,000 a month. But that is something that we're gonna be doing to these cars. I want them both to have cooled oil pans and I want them both to have oil coolers. Some pretty cool stuff. I really like these, you know, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that fits. Oh, that's crazy. They're basically Legos. I mentioned this when we were built the M3 wagon. It's just crazy how you can swap subframes. This subframe in the front of this car is the exact same one in the wagon. The rear subframe can fit back and forth. The gas tanks are all compatible with each other. It's crazy how much of these cars can be swapped back and forth. And these lists are huge. I'm sure there's all sorts of points we can go over. I just wanted to make sure that we were talking about the cool performance ones, and there's so much more to come. So make sure that you are subscribed to the channel so you can see the future videos. If you have any experiences with any of these projects, let me know down in the comment section below. Do you have the 996 brakes? Did you do the M56 metal valve cover swap? How your project's been, how easy it was, what difficulty level. A lot of this stuff can be done by somebody who's just getting into cars, and some of this stuff is a little bit more in depth. There's different degrees of difficulty, and I'm just curious to know what you all think of my list and which ones you have personally tried yourselves. Thanks everybody so much for watching. Any comments or questions down in the comment section below. We do have a video coming up. I did finally get launch control, but I do have some other restrictions now. So it's like I unlock something, but then lock something else out. We'll go over that in a future video when we go to drive this car. I'm very excited to show everybody the launch control. It's been super awesome to have. So yeah, big fun stuff in the future. Stay tuned. We'll see you in the next video.
Bam!